Welcome back to JML Recording. I'm Joshua Lutz, and this is the MicRemotePRO. I've been waiting 25 years to make this video. What is it? It is a remote-controlled microphone stand. It allows me to dial in the perfect tone on a guitar amp or any instrument in the live room while sitting here in the control room monitoring through the speakers or through headphones. And I can even watch what's happening on this camera. So really quickly, give me 60 seconds to tell you the story. I was working at Electric Lady Studios in Manhattan, New York, and somebody came in and said that they had a prototype invention they wanted us to try out. I was operations manager at the time and said, sure, we'll try it out. We took it into Studio A. I'll never forget, it was a Bjork session on an album called Volta, and we set it up in the live room, which if you've ever seen Electric Lady's live room, it's huge. We would go back and forth to get tones on the guitar amp, because as you know, just moving a microphone on or off axis a few millimeters on a guitar speaker, side to side or up and down or in and out on a speaker cone, you get that you get like a filter sweep sound. What's worse is every time you get up out of your chair and walk 20 feet to the live room and move the mic and then come back to your seat, you've lost a point of reference in your head. So the device this guy had created used XLR tie lines with a remote controller, and you could move the microphone around in, out, up, down, left, right. So it's a 3-axis positioned device. And we were able to sit in the control room and just dial in the perfect sound on these guitar amps with our headphones on in the control room, while the microphone system was in the live room. And I thought this was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life, so I just waited for this product to be available for purchase, and it never was. Until about 5 or 6 years ago, a guy came out with an aluminum CNC prototyped device that's for sale on the internet now, and he wants about $1,500 for it. And when I saw that, I said, that's crazy, I'm gonna build my own. Well, now I know why he charged $1,500. These things are insanely difficult to develop. It was basically a full-time job over the last 6 months to build this thing. So down here, we have the power supply, which clamps to the stand, as you can see, and it could be any size stamp. This is a tall stand. If you're using a little Fender Champ, this can actually sit on the floor. Inside of here is a Meanwell power supply with a DSP32 flashable brain, which I flashed Arduino software on. I had to learn Arduino language and coding, and I programmed it myself so that the Dabble app can control up, down, left, right, and it's a video game joystick controller. I'll show you now. And X and box, like on a PlayStation controller, are what controls the system. Why don't I just show you? Because it's so freaking cool. Hello there. Okay, so we have a 3-axis motor system and a camera below, so you can actually watch the mic being moved from the control room. We have up and down, of course. And we have this motor up and down, and that gives us in, out, up, down, left, right. How cool is that? Let me give you a more in-depth view of this. All right, we're reamping in the live room to a 1963 Fender Blonde Bassman 6L6. I've got the app open. We've got the camera going here. Let's hit record on this guitar. Here we go. Right there. Right there. Now let's do some adjustments. Yes. That was awesome. That's the sound I was looking for, and I dialed it in like 60 seconds. Once I found the sweet spot on axis, I just made some macro adjustments and I found it. We're off to the races. Here we have the power supply box, and inside is a DSP32 brain, which I've flashed with Arduino software, my own custom code that I've created from scratch. It's running 48 volts, but it's knocking it down with a little transformer that knocks it down to 5 volts. It's not a step-down transformer, it's actually a 5-volt converter, which runs to 3 stepper motors, which then send signal out to 3 stepper drivers. Using this little clamp on the back of the power supply box, clamp it to any mic stand that you're using, and you're ready to go. When you open the app, you're gonna click this little connect button there, and you'll see down at the bottom, MicRemotePRO. In addition to the features I just showed you, you also have an onboard camera right here. You can actually watch the microphone moving in front of the amp while you're dialing in the sound. Obviously this one's pretty high up in the air. It can be mounted on any stand. All you do is you pull the cotter pin and it slides right off of any old stand, and you can put it anywhere that you'd want. I had it on a smaller, shorter stand earlier, but this works great for taller amps like this. Put the cotter pin back in and you're good to go. That is the JML Studios custom-made 3-axis stepper motor Microphone Pro. The Pro variant differentiating from the Lite version. This one has a camera built in. The Lite version is also available for sale. You open the Dabble app on your phone, select the gamepad, and then what do we connect to? We connect to the device. And there it is down at the bottom, MicRemotePRO. I get a notification we're connected, and there we go. Left, right, up, down, and then X and box control the final stepper motor. I designed everything in Tinkercad and I 3D printed it. I must have spent, $200 on filament, creating dozens and dozens of prototypes over the last 6 months until I landed on this. Coolest part? Quick connect. Are they available for sale? Yes and no. I am using a CNC prototype shop right now to make everything out of aluminum. What I've noticed is even using PETG instead of PLA filament, which is more rigid and it's stronger, inside of each one of these stepper motors that are run by drivers inside of the power supply box, there are 4 very small 1/2-inch gears inside of there that's inside of like a tracer cap that has a shaft that connects to the outer piece that turns, and I'm using all M3 and M4 screws. I have solder heat inserts that go into the sides, the housing of the 3D printed motor housings that the M3 screws go into, but the problem is the gears themselves that are made of PETG, they're not strong enough to hold a heavy microphone. The motor could pick up like a KU2U RCA, like a RCA 44, but the gears aren't gonna stand up to that kind of weight. So I'm remaking the machine with aluminum. However, I will say the fact that this all works is amazing. There was a time when I decided to return everything. I gave up. I couldn't get Arduino software to flash the DSP32 brain with the software I coded for it to work properly. And the motors were just glitching out. The motor drivers weren't transferring the information to the stepper motors properly. And I am not a coder. I'm not an electric engineer. I was just kind of learning by the seat of my pants. So I packed everything up and I opened returns for everything. And those boxes sat next to my front door for about 2 weeks and I stared at them every day. And then I remembered like all those Disney movies I grew up with as a kid. So I opened up all the boxes and I sat down and I said, this is my darkest hour. I can get through this. And about a month later, I had all 3 motors sitting on my kitchen table and I had the app open and everything just worked. And I was jumping up and down screaming, and my wife was like, good job, nerd. And it worked. The MicRemotePRO. Other fun things we gotta talk about, because I haven't made a video in a while. I'm finally in Mix Magazine, which is really cool. I'm in the last issue of 2025. We're talking about my second to last, most recent film in here. They're talking about the gear I used inside of Deliver Me From Nowhere, the Bruce Springsteen biopic with Jeremy Allen White. I've since then just finished Marty Supreme and I'm on to more movies. You know what's really cool? Look at that mic stand. You can barely see it, but you see that little handle that tightens the boom arm? This is that stand right there behind me. I gotta say, working on set 12 to 16 hours a day, not for me. Chilling with you guys, talking about the MicRemotePRO, working on albums and scoring, that's the life for this pirate. And lastly, I have the coolest news to announce. The last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I'm most excited about, and it's the JML Record Ready Audio System. RRAS is a new system I've developed. It's a 12-week program. If you feel like you've been struggling with audio engineering and your mixes sound anemic and they just don't sound good, and you're wondering, after all the time you've put into this, why are your mixes still sounding amateur? What can you do? If you feel like you need a mentor, my system is a heck of a lot cheaper than the $20,000 I spent to get an audio engineering degree. This is a 12-week system that is a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of that price. That's guaranteed to get you up to speed and making record-ready releases. So you're proud of your mixes and you're not embarrassed and apologizing for your rough demos. That's what my system's providing, and if you're interested and you'd like some general information about it, you can fill out the form in the description below. This course will be ready at the end of the spring of 2026. It's not ready yet. The website's going to be recordreadyaudio.com. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm Joshua Lutz. This is JML Recording. I'll see you on the other side of the glass.